Hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 227 for April 19th, 2017. My name is Russell Frost from WhatDrives.us, and I am your host this evening. Actually, no, I'm not.
I was just going to let you run with it. We agreed not like 15 minutes
took
ago.
over Tony's shows. So this is
20
where
seconds in and you're off script.
All right,
This is my show. Tony Schaefer, take it away.
Wow. Hi, everybody. Yes, it's good to be here. Good evening, everybody. And before we get going, I want to give a shout out to Upland Brewing and all the brave men and women in Bloomington, Indiana, making fine craft beers.
I'm not going to say anything for the rest of the show.
Okay.
I hope you got free beer for that.
Well, yeah, actually.
Oh, we have a sponsor. We have a sponsor.
Well, technically, I got free beer, stole a coaster.
It only took 7 years.
Yeah.
So
And
they're
Tony got what, a six-pack?
They're a sponsor and they don't even know it.
They don't even know it. Right. It's like guerrilla sponsorship. Yes.
Crazy.
So who's going to do this?
Tony, it's your show.
Okay. All right. Well, now that we got that set up.
I'm sorry.
This is awesome.
Going off the rails.
Right away. Just script? Who needs a script?
When we've got Paul Guzik in Boulder, Colorado, is the owner of Boulder Hybrids. Teardowns, repairs, rebuilds, hybrids, and EVs. Take it away, Paul.
Hey, glad to be back. And my sponsor, well, I don't know, it's the Kaiser beer. Can you see this? It's from the
Nice.
here in Boulder, Colorado.
Wow.
And it says the Dictator series. So I wonder if they'll be having one named after a president here shortly of a country I've been. But
I was so waiting for that. I don't
Anyway,
want to drink anything with Trump's
glad to be
picture
back.
on the bottom.
It'll probably be a
I didn't say it'll be
pumpkin
Trump.
ale.
I just said a dictator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So probably be a pumpkin ale.
Oh, nice. And that voice.
Cheeto ale.
Yes. Ever witty panelist, our man in Missouri. He owns a couple of Teslas. He is Dr. Evan Fusco.
Hey everybody. Well, my glass says Sam Adams, but this is a homebrew. So I'm sponsoring myself. But hi everybody.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right.
and where's Danny Cooper this week?
Danny Cooper is simply not here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you. Yeah, I'm
No,
totally once again, I'm off script.
Yeah, no. Apparently his tracking device has not moved for the last 36 hours, so we think he actually took it off, or something, and so he's off. He's off the reservation.
I thought he'd get around that ankle monitor before.
Or maybe he's trying to figure out which bathroom he can use.
Ooh. Not in North Carolina. I think they tell you when you show up and they just point. Yes.
Right. You get a bracelet.
Yeah.
You just match the color to the door.
You
You're
just
good.
drop trowel and they
Bracelet in.
Well, speaking of drop trowel, we're going to start.
Oh, Jesus.
We're going to start with Russell, who is going to tell us some internal woes taking place within Tesla.
You know, I don't even know that my point's about internals, but let's talk about a few weeks ago on this show. We did a really fun little thing. I think it was on this show. God, now I'm confused because we're doing two shows. The Tesla Instagram account, the Tesla parking lot Instagram account collection. Nonetheless,
yeah.
let's not even mess with that. There was a Tesla parking lot Instagram account, and it was hilarious with photos of the Tesla parking lot, which were, how do we say, not complimentary. They were actually though a good record of what was going on with that. So the problem is, and here's the thing, a part of my story goes to this. I wanted to show you the Tesla parking lot Instagram because it was funny and it was cute, and except when I went there tonight, there it is. Guess who killed the Tesla parking lot Instagram account? Some
Lord Elon.
buddy. I don't know who.
Is it the Kaiser?
But I suspect the company that isn't usually super good about taking criticism probably didn't like criticism from one of their employees. And I don't even know that it was criticism as much as like, here's what's going on. So here's the problem that we have. Tesla has a factory in Fremont that makes their vehicles. And in that factory, they have about 6,000 employees. And in this parking lots that they have room for a little less than 4,000 vehicles. And that means that people do what people do with cars, which is they park illegally and they do all kinds of crazy stuff. This picture, you see some Tesla employees putting a car on a hydraulic jack that is actually blocking the entrance and exit to one of the parking lots so that other people can get in and out. Now, that seems extreme, but, again, if you're one car blocking in, let's say maybe 500 other cars, I think that's a pretty reasonable response. I probably would have done it with a forklift and probably gone right through their windows with the forks. So, needless to say, I'm not, Tesla's a growing company and they should deal with this issue. But I think that the go-to is, well, why doesn't Tesla they've got all this land, they've got this big factory, why don't they just build a parking structure or build parking lot? Well, that's the natural thing. And my point here is that Tesla, as a company of the future, should be doing something better than that. They should be encouraging
automated carpools.
Something. Carpools, they should have a bus, they should do something to get cars out of the parking lot, because that's the problem. Too many cars in the parking lot. A hyperloop. That's it. People could just cling to it as it rockets past their house at 6,000 miles an hour.
That's one fast hobo huffing it down the tracks. Yeah.
How many times do you roll if you jump off the hyperloop that's going? I mean, like
sort of like a skip.
As many times as a Honda Insight going 190 miles an hour.
Yeah, but to your point, Russell, I do agree that Tesla is, in my opinion, Tesla might be taking the right approach. It's painful for employees and people, but the approach is not to build more parking for more cars. The point is, in some ways, make it more convenient and maybe even painful. Make it more convenient for people to take alternative transportation, like mass transportation, and make it painful for people to not take mass transportation or carpool or something. However, for that argument to have any weight, Tesla has to prove that they are trying to provide those alternatives to their employees. You can't just cut the parking lot 20% and say, you figure it out.
And to be clear, this isn't an issue where Tesla's made the parking lot smaller. They've just grown out of the current parking lot that they have, the parking lots that they have. And
how many employees do they have at that facility now?
6,000.
Wow.
And they have less than 4,000
And when it was a Toyota
spots.
plant, how many employees did they have?
That I wasn't able to find out.
17,000 between the two, Fremont and Palo Alto.
Yeah. Oh, 17,000
employees.
Oh. Wow, they have that many in Palo Alto?
Between Palo Alto and Fremont, yeah.
That's a lot.
Wow, that's crazy. I had no idea they had that many people.
Hence their issues.
Yeah. Right. And the other thing that's going to make this more complicated is this year, Elon's claiming they're going to roll out the Model 3 production. And the first people to get those Model 3s are employees who already, Tesla owning employees in this parking lot, already have a problem with iced spots. And it's a constant complaint of people in gas cars parking in the EV charging spots that they have. Needless to say, this problem's only going to get uglier, and Tesla needs to do something, I think, to solve the issue, to relieve the issue. It's not enough just to say, well, we're not going to encourage cars by not building more parking. There has to be an alternative. I'm not familiar with the mass transit situation right around that Fremont plant. I know it's very close to freeways. Maybe the bus line, maybe they need a private bus like Google has, or buses. I don't know.
Maybe this is actually why Elon is going to buy a tunnel boring machine.
That's right.
Because everybody will
Build
Go
a
in the
tunnel right
tunnel?
to the factory.
Right. Yeah, that's actually where he's going to come up,
In
right
a-
under the factory, and
in
then
an-
he's going to have everybody park at a parking, at a park and ride at one side of the tunnel, and he's just going to have shuttles to just bypass the freeway and pop up right at the factory. It all makes perfect sense when you think of it from that deranged perspective.
Or a tunnel to Mexico, and then people can avoid the wall that way.
Oh, there's already enough of those.
So when Elon says robots making cars, he means something else. It's a euphemism.
Right.
17,000.
No, you know what? There is actually a factory near where I grew up that they needed to expand the factory, and they didn't have much land, so they ended up expanding into the parking lots. They took out about a quarter of the employee parking. However, they introduced shuttles because the cost of buying the land to expand the parking lot exceeded the cost of simply running shuttles to pick up employees. So that's what they do now. Certain employees park somewhere, and then the shuttle comes, picks them up, takes them in, and then the shuttle drops them off in the evening. The company completely took care of it. And a lot of the employees couldn't be happier, because you know how much we've talked about wasting time during a commute. They're now getting that time back where they can listen to quality podcasts like this one, or read a book, or catch up on some sleep or whatever. So that was one way that one company addressed the situation of not enough parking.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, that's what I think. This isn't the kind of innovation that's bigger than Tesla.
Right.
So this isn't something they can't figure out. So do it.
Well,
Get
and
on it,
perhaps
Elon.
once they streamline their systems and hire more robots, they can fire the people.
Well, is that what Elon's waiting for?
Yeah.
Yes. Waiting for artificial intelligence to design their cars. Yeah.
So this is an aerial view of the Tesla factory.
Oh, geez.
You can see there's the factory, obviously, and there's a whole bunch of parking along the side. And there's a big, huge parking lot. I don't know if that's theirs or not.
You sure that's a parking lot?
Or is it?
It looks like a parking lot. Yeah.
Or is that a roof?
No, I'm pretty sure that's a parking lot. Yeah, that's
that must not be their land.
Wait a minute.
There's not a car there.
It may not.
Or when was this taken?
Right. That's the thing. Who knows? Yeah.
There's usually a date on the picture.
Yeah.
It says 2017, but that's very new. Maybe. I don't know. The article mentioned a south parking lot, and I'm not seeing a south parking lot. The north is up in this case, and that would be down here, would be as south as you can get. I don't know.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, as big as Numi was, it may be that they just don't have any more land. So again, the question is, what you going to do about it? And there's certainly things to do. I mean, there's the freeway right there.
Yeah.
All
right.
So,
and can I just say that I'm thrilled that this is the biggest problem Tesla's having right now?
Absolutely. do you feel that this is criticism of Tesla?
No, but it's, look, if that's what the biggest problem we've got to complain about with them right now, it's a growing pain. Who cares?
Yeah, but the show's just starting.
Yeah, wait until we start talking about the trucks. That's all I got, Tony. I'm done ranting.
Right.
Thank you so much.
I was typing in the chat room.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, I just invented a new drinking game. I typed into the chat room. Evan said Tesla. Everyone drink.
I should go in there and look and see what's going on.
All right. So once Tesla does something about their parking lot problems and their woes, you're going to see it if you follow us on Facebook. So make sure you have our Facebook page liked, and you can find it at facebook.com/whatdrivesus. You can leave us comments, suggest news items, or just like the page. And some of the news that we're going to cover this week was suggested through the Facebook page. Also, if you use Flipboard as a news aggregator, be sure to subscribe to the What Drives Us magazine. I got to tell you, just shout out to Philip Barclay. Sometimes I go to the magazine to see that he's thrown 13 or 17 new articles in there, and I'm keeping up. I'm just trying to keep up with him at this point.
The man is a machine. He's prolific.
Yes. Yeah. So a shout out to that. Also, speaking of shout outs, I had one more shout out I wanted to give, and I forgot. Franco Capizzo gets this week's EV spotting points for seeing the Hyundai Ioniq EV. So, speaking of Facebook, yeah, we had a back and forth. He said he saw one, and we award him points. I'm not sure what that's worth, but points to Franco.
And was it in a public place or on a test track? Like, is it actually real now?
No, I think it was real. Yeah. Cool. All right. So, speaking of Tesla, I wanted to talk about an article in which a driver in California,
of course,
of course, he kind of went off the road a little. If you didn't hear about this,
a little.
He kind of went off the road, avoiding a deer, and tumbled about 500 feet down a cliff. Now, to be clear, it was a woodlands. So when they say cliff, not like an ocean cliff, more like just down a hill, 500 feet, and ended up upside down on a trail. Now, he walked away, and of course, he said it was Tesla's stability and rigidity and everything that saved his life. He and his passenger just had some bumps and bruises. And so there's some impressive pictures here at Electech. And let's see if I could maybe put one or two of these up. But, first of all, I just want to say he did not swerve off the road because he was avoiding a deer. The dude was driving his car too fast, and he lost control. So just go ahead and tell the story. That's it.
Yeah, but if you say there was a deer involved, you'll get your insurance to cover everything.
No. You have to hit the deer. And even then, yes, you have to hit the deer. And even then, sometimes you have to have comprehensive insurance to cover random acts like animals running in front of you. Collision insurance wouldn't cover it. In some states, like my home state of Indiana, if you hit a deer, it's actually Indiana's fault. And they will pay for the damages. That actually dates back to the late 1800s when the state of Indiana introduced white-tailed deer, after which the population exploded because, of course, there were no predators. So anyway, what he said was he actually said that he was driving, I forgot how he said it. It was like a bit too aggressively and late at night or something like that. So it was the evening and he was driving too fast and a deer jumped in front of him. Okay, first of all, bullshit. Deers aren't running late at night. They're simply not.
What they sleep or something?
They're in bed sleeping.
Yes, they're
literally watching
do.
The Tonight Show? I mean, what do you mean?
They literally do, because predators like big cats are nocturnal. Take it from someone. I grew up in Indiana in deer country, and I can tell you, deer aren't very mobile.
These are Oakland Hills deer, okay?
Oh, right. They're enjoying the nightlife. They're just out clubbing.
They're tough, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. All I'm saying is, if you lost control of your Tesla driving around on a windy road, just suck it up. He's going to end up paying the insurance anyway. You might as well just say it.
I wouldn't mind driving too aggressively on that road. Looks like a good one. Too aggressively on.
It's a pretty intense road.
And I'm not sure I agree with your deer theory there.
I'm not sure I can.
I mean, the real point here is that, once again, Tesla's, one of Elon's claim about Tesla is that it's the safest car you can buy. And, this is another pretty severe accident that someone walked away from. That's impressive. I mean, just without getting into deer habits and this guy's driving technique,
Well, truth be told, then when I was 21, 22, I rolled a Nissan Maxima. And yes, I was driving too fast. And yes, it was my fault. And I rolled a Nissan Maxima. Guess what?
And you blamed it on the
I'm
deer.
still here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know what? Nissan saved my life. Can you say that about any car? Okay, we know that Teslas are strong and they broke the testing machine and all that. However, if you roll your car and you walk away, I know you feel great, praise God, praise Jesus, I'm alive. But at what point do you say the car did what it was supposed to do? Everyone walked away. Okay. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah, but look at that car. The roof, the line, it's not dented at all.
The
impact
it's not crushed.
Took the impact.
But most modern cars would probably fare very similar.
Really?
Situation like that.
On a rollover on the roof?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, like if you look at a Prius, the roof is kind of like an arc, and that is very strong. And I've seen rolled Priuses, and they look just like the Tesla. The passenger compartment is totally intact, and people walk away.
Man. It looks like, I suppose that I don't know what that little vent thing's called on the sunroof, but that's popped up there. So I wonder if his sunroof was open.
No, it actually, the sunroof came out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that popped up then.
Yeah. I mean, the whole sunroof popped out of the roof, but the roof itself stayed intact.
The fact that there's not even a scrape on the side makes me wonder if the side even touched anything.
Oh, it took off the mirror. Yeah. But wow. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't say if it went end over end or if it barrel rolled, but
well,
I mean, that's important. I mean, it kind of is, I guess. At least for some reason. But I don't know.
Well, there you go.
But if anyone, if anyone is looking for a slightly used, lightly dented Tesla,
that's what we call a mechanic special.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Needs a little TLC is usually the way those are listed.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Needs a little TLC.
First car I ever owned had been
Craigslist posting without the photo.
Right.
Car is in nice shape.
Sold as is.
Right. Sold as is. And yeah. Not a problem. Not a problem.
All right. Well, so I guess moving on, I got no transition except other to say that Evan, you know what? We should have made Paul talk about do this one. A car that goes more than 193 miles an hour and doesn't roll over.
Yeah, so everybody's been following the news of Lucid Motors very closely, so I don't even need to give anybody any background on that.
Lucid Motors?
Who said Motors?
Who paid into it? But how do you get your name out there if you're being crushed by the Apple cars and Google cars and Teslas and everybody else? Well, you do something pretty cool, and Lucid took their top end electric vehicle that they're building and put it on a test track and drove it at 217 miles an hour, and are claiming that version that they put on the test track is going to get an almost 400-mile range of pure EV. And then they dial everything back and they tell you about the car that everybody can hopefully actually afford at some point, which won't go quite that fast, but it's going to sell for US about $52,500 and should be available in early 2019. That's still going to have about a 220-mile all EV range that they're estimating it at that price point, and they don't say how fast it'll go. But if look, it's publicity, right? I mean, you got to get your name out there when you're being crushed by everybody else and trying to break into this marketplace. But that's a pretty quick little car there.
Yeah, it's not a bad looking car either.
No, it is. It's nice. Looks like kind of like a race car, the one they had on the track anyway.
Not like that Faraday embarrassment. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
This thing's the one they had on the test track is supposed to be 1,000 horsepower. Very nice.
That's a lot of ponies.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I don't know. I think I'm offended by their claim that they plan to build 10,000 cars the first year of production. I'll believe it when I see it.
I was waiting for someone to mention that. Yeah, and that's a big,
For a new
big
car
number.
company with all the issues of producing a car, 10,000 is a huge number.
Now, they didn't qualify whether or not they would all run. Just saying.
Or if they'd be real cars or just like Matchbox cars or
Right.
something.
Hot Wheels count.
Anybody know who's behind Lucid? Where their money's coming from?
They're always described as Silicon Valley based Lucid Motors.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I would.
I don't.
Maybe it's the Apple car in disguise.
Ooh, wouldn't that be a kick in the ass? That would
Because
be
they said the
interesting.
car is called the Air. You know, that's an
It's-
Apple.
Yeah.
Air.
Former employees
Yeah,
worked at Mazda
airboat
and
car.
Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a manufacturing plant in Casa Grande, Arizona that will employ 2,000 workers by 2022, eventually building up to 20 to 130,000 cars per year.
It's a hell of a range.
This was Casa Grande was one of the candidate cities for the Tesla Gigafactory. I'm just reading off the Wikipedia page here. So
I just gave you guys a link to a Jalopnik article from a few days ago. Said Lucid's chief CTO technical officer, I guess,
Peter Robinson.
Peter admitted that they don't have enough money, quote, yet to start building a proposed factory. Lucid will face a delay until it raises more funds, which is a worrying part of the tortoise version of the hare side of the electric car world.
Yeah, that might not be doing things in the right order.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it
We're going to build
announced
10,000, but
Yeah.
we may not have a factory to build them in.
in 2019, plus or minus 5 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, the other side of it is if they spend all this money to build and develop a car, gosh, you know, it would be interesting. Like a big car company couldn't just come in and buy all that stuff and then make it, right?
Mhm.
China.
Just saying, like,
You would think. Yep. Yeah. Well, you know, we can go from cars that may or may not see the road to maybe trucks that may or may not see the road. I know we haven't mentioned Tesla's name yet in this week. That was a bad joke. Yeah, as though we don't have enough Tesla news to fill one podcast after the shows.
right.
Tonight is the other. But Paul, I think, is going to tell us about Tesla's new endeavor. That's the truck story, Paul.
Did we lose Paul?
Nope. Are you mute,
He's-
Paul?
Paul's muted.
Oh, I don't think so. Paul? Oh, yeah, he is
Oh.
muted.
Oh,
Why is he
man.
muted?
I don't know.
There we go. You're
No,
back.
Nothing.
Nothing? Uh-oh.
Bummer,
Well,
technical
Paul's going to be
difficulties.
contributed by American Sign Language for the rest of the show. And
So if Paul was still making any noises whatsoever, he would be telling us that Elon Musk on the 13th of April tweeted out Tesla semi-truck unveil set for September. Team has done an amazing job. Seriously, next level.
Boy, that sounds Trump-like, doesn't it?
I was going to say, if that would have ended with
Huge, it's gonna be
hashtag huge. It's going to be huge.
It's
It's
bigly.
going to be like so spectacular. You're going to be so tired of trucks when we're done with this. It's just all trucks. It's huge. China. So someone followed up back at him and said, cool, is the pickup unveil coming this year or next? And then Elon replied to them and said, pickup truck unveil in 18 to 24 months, which means we may be seeing a Tesla semi this year in September. And then that would put the truck in, what was it, end of next year,
2019
early year
sometime.
after.
Yeah.
2019 sometime, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
and this is, let's be clear about this. This is just seeing prototypes. This isn't like it's going to hit the road.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Evan and I talked about this on the Tesla Life. And do you mind, Tony, if I jump in?
Go for it.
A little bit. I mean, the really amazingly cool thing about this is that commercial vehicles like the semi-truck are really well suited for this kind of technology. Not only do they cause an amazing amount of pollution and use up a ton of fossil fuel, so that if you can electrify them, you can save that energy, eliminate that pollution. But the autonomous features that Tesla is working for also dovetail really well with a commercial use scenario. Unlike a passenger car that has to know everything about every possible terrain, trucks generally stick to the highways and generally go to distribution centers that are pretty well known and well mapped. So this could be an amazing thing for them. The article that we're talking about said that the annual North American Europe truck market, semi-truck market, is $100 billion a year.
Yeah.
And I'll be quiet, let Evan talk.
Well, and other issues, obviously full autonomy we think is going to be way in the future for this particular application. But even in the transition, I think there's great opportunities for keeping vehicles on the road longer, for reducing the human factor in crashes and other accidents, plus the marked decrease in mechanical issues that you'd see with diesels, and the complexity of repairing those and having them out of service should be dramatically reduced. We thought there were probably some interesting charging options for resupplying these, and even though they obviously require really big batteries and power to go very far, there's probably some options as far as having multiple individual packs that could be charged simultaneously if you did onboard charging, versus great applications for the battery swap technology that Tesla is already able to do with the Model S, and putting that in this kind of setting, because if you've got distribution centers or kind of like home bases, you also have your battery swap stations there. So the truck pulls in, dumps its load, swaps out a battery, picks up its next load, and off it goes. It certainly seems like there's some great potential there if they can get all the complex pieces working together.
Right, definitely. Unlike a vehicle, a car, the battery could be mounted, or I'm just thinking the battery, could be, maybe a stationary battery under, but also, like you said, a battery swap. I mean, that could be right behind the cabin area, maybe just as high, and it just slides right down and just sort of plugs in underneath. And yeah, to your point, that would be a perfect use case to have batteries constantly charging.
Right.
And then, and I do love the idea of, and we've discussed this many times, having semis that can go, almost entirely, autonomous, but, like we've mentioned, the mixed driving mode, but certainly reduce the truckers' road hypnosis on the interstates. And then the driver takes over as you get into more populated areas. But certainly on designated routes, this is great.
Totally awesome.
Or what they call less than truckload deliveries, like where a mid-sized semi-truck takes the goods around an urban area each day and then goes back to the depot.
Right.
That would be a great application.
The size of a tractor, of a semi-truck, I mean, look at that engine compartment. It's not going to have an enormous diesel engine in it. You could put very easily accessible battery packs in there that could be swapped out at a distribution center. And unlike, again, a passenger vehicle, you don't have to build 10,000 of these. You have to put one at each distribution point where the trucks travel between. That's very cost effective, and the companies that use these vehicles are big enough and have the money to look at the savings and go, yeah, we need to do this, and they will do it. I think if it pencils out, they will.
Yeah, it pencils out. You look at a 5-year valuation of buying one of these, writing it off, versus buying a traditional car and then all of the fuel that goes with it, or a commercial truck. Yeah.
And the diesel maintenance ain't cheap. I mean,
Definitely.
Yeah.
And as we know, if you roll it off of a windy road, it'll save your life. Yeah.
We had to go there.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. So speaking of driving electric vehicles, um, it was pluglesspower.com that posted an article this week that they put up a map of the United States, and they said driving electricity is cheaper than gas in all 50 states. And what they did was they took the comparison of gas price and electricity, and they just basically looked at, the cost of the car was set aside, and they said just fuel alone, which is cheaper. Now, one of the things that I thought gave this article some credit is they addressed some of the potential issues right up front. And they basically said, look, gas goes, the price of gas goes up and down, but so does the price of electricity. In some places, if you compare the cost at peak, California, for example, I think they said could get as much as, was it 30 cents a kilowatt hour, 40 cents a kilowatt hour? 40 cents a kilowatt hour at peak. However, if you charge overnight, which any smart Californian would, it drops down to almost 10 cents. So like I said, the thing that I thought gave it a little credit is that they come out and say right up front, okay, here's all the problems there are trying to compare these two. But as long as you're writing an article, let's do this thing. And I thought the map was really nice because it does show every state and then the amount of money that you end up saving per year driving electricity versus gasoline. Now, does anyone want to guess which state is actually the most, the best to drive electricity? If you read the article, you already know.
Yeah, I read the article. So
yeah,
is that cheating?
Yeah, it is.
Well, according to the chart, New Hampshire, $390.
No, Missouri, 940.
But
the higher is better.
But now, so that's.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay, that's you got to kind of go down to the chart and then a little thing. So, the first chart showed Oregon actually had this best savings per year at about $1,238, but total, like for average mileage, they gave it to Missourians here because we drive more because everything's far away because we live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and that was one of the comparisons was how many miles they drive, and so that was another thing was it's not just the price of gas and the cost of electricity, but also how many miles you log, which can widen the gap between the two, which means you end up saving more on average per person. And so Missouri was the most efficient, the most beneficial for driving electricity. And the worst, I don't know, maybe not surprised. No, that was actually Alaska.
Because you have to drive far in Alaska, and it's expensive.
And what they said was charging your EV is still $353 cheaper per year. Let's see, however, shoot, I forgot where it was, but so it was the worst, but it was still cheaper to drive an EV than pump gas is really what it came down to. So I wanted to bring this up because we've talked about how much money you can save driving an electric vehicle versus gasoline, but this was the first article that I ever saw that I've seen so far that went through and broke it down state for state, gave a good reason, and and I thought it was really worth looking at.
Well, and this is just on fuel costs only, and they don't even factor in maintenance costs, which are way less on an EV than a gas car. So.
Right, exactly.
Indeed.
Yeah. And one of the things that I wanted to do was a price comparison. People were talking about, electric vehicles cost more up front. And Yeah, I didn't have time, but I wanted to try to run what is the average cost of a mid-level sedan? What is the average cost of a electric vehicle, and try to figure out that. I just didn't have time to do it. So there you have it.
There you go.
Good
Yeah.
story. Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that. So that's on pluglesspower.com. We'll have the links, of course.
So Evan's ahead of the curve. He knew something before everyone else did.
Right.
Nah, see, that always goes back though. It's not about the money.
Right.
Someday it will be. But it's not about the money yet.
Well, that's why you have two Teslas. So you can save twice the money.
Yeah, exactly.
See there. Wow. That's
I'm
He's
gonna be
saving.
really rich. I keep buying cars.
Yeah.
yes.
Just think about
Cars
it.
are such a great investment.
Indeed.
Okay, this is getting ugly.
Yeah.
Hey.
So speaking of efficiency, Russell, do you want to tell us why the GOP hates us?
I can't really figure it out, and my apologies in advance because there's no way I can tackle this subject without getting political. So there it is. In the Trump budget as it exists right now, part of it was crafted by a guy, and I say guy, I probably lends him a little too much humanity. The supposed human named Myron Ebell, who apparently is a professional libertarian and professional climate change denier. He
I don't
is
even know what that means.
the director of environmental initiatives at the Competitive Enterprise Institute. That's his job. He's the director of environmental initiatives at a place that doesn't believe there should be any environmental initiatives. So you kind of get the idea right there of what's going on. Nonetheless, one of the things that he wrote into this budget for Trump was getting rid of a program called Energy Star. And if by any chance you've never heard of Energy Star, you don't know what it is, it's possible. Energy Star is a program that has been around for more than 25 years. It is one of the few government programs that consumers and companies like, because Energy Star is basically rates appliances, large and small, anything that uses energy. Energy Star rates and looks for efficiency. So that as a consumer, you can look at that and go, oh, this is more efficient than this one. And that's important. It's also passively encourage companies to make devices more energy efficient. Obviously, if you've got the worst performing refrigerator on the floor at Home Depot, people are going to look at that and go, that's pretty, but I want one that maybe won't cost me as much per month to operate. So,
And the labels actually show you the estimated dollars per year to operate that appliance.
The labels are
really
very simple.
Yeah.
I should try and find a picture of one of those, shouldn't I? For the people who never have seen one.
I'll get it.
Thank you, Tony. Nonetheless, Mr. Ebell, and I use the word Mr. very, very loosely, has crafted this thing. This is a program that costs us $60 million a year. 16,000 private
Less
companies.
than
One
trip
Tomahawk.
to Palm Beach.
One Tomahawk missile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
$16 million a year is a lot of money for you and me. For the United States government, it's nothing. And the good that this accomplishes in a very positive way, without being evil regulation or anything else, the good that Energy Star has accomplished over the last 2.5 decades is enormous. So getting rid of this is merely like a spiteful and punitive measure from someone who just really thinks that climate change is an evil conspiracy and the Pope sells drugs and Hillary Clinton ran a pedophilia ring out of a Pizza Hut in New Jersey or something.
You're right.
You've got to be basically a complete fucking wackaloon to look at this and go, oh, we got to get rid of Energy Star. So suffice to say, maybe you have a local representative or senator that is amenable to hearing the things. You might want to drop them a line and say, you know what, Energy Star is worth saving.
And to that end, if you are on Facebook, not only do you need to like our page, you also need to go to Facebook's. They have a new functionality they rolled out a couple of weeks ago, I think, reach out to your representative. I forgot what it's called. I'll look it up. But you can actually use Facebook now to find out who your local representatives are. And of course, Facebook lets you send a Facebook message to them, which doesn't help if your representative is like Orrin Hatch and still hand writes and Pony Expresses his mail around. But at the very least, you can get a list of who your representatives are and phone numbers and whatnot, and you can start making phone calls. And tell this guy to go shove it.
Yeah.
Go stick his hand in one of those energy efficient toasters.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Take a bath.
I mean, taking away Energy Star is a lot like taking away UL. I mean, who hates that? I mean, who? Yeah. It's just the stupidest thing. You know, the government has no business in letting people protect themselves, or being warned not to throw your hairdryer in a bathtub. That's not the government's job.
Right.
I mean, this guy's an ass.
Yes.
To shut down Energy Star, and it's one of those things. As soon as you mention that, like you said, everybody perks up and it's like, huh? Why?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the only thing I want to mention before I shuffle off here is that if you own a Prius and you need accessories or fun stuff for your car, be sure to visit the Prius shop for all your accessory needs. You can find it at priuschat.com/shop. That's priuschat.com/shop. Every item sold at the Prius shop has been inspected and tested by Prius owners. priuschat.com/shop, including my friend Tony adds brand new HHO injectors.
Yes, you can now rig your Prius to inject hydrogen directly into.
Look at Paul. It's like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, and I've got a bridge I'll sell you too.
Yeah.
I think he's selling nitrogen for car tires too. It's the shipping's really cheap because nitrogen's light.
Yes.
HHO, isn't that water? Isn't that what it's saying?
HHO. Yeah.
2 H's and an O. Is that water?
Yeah, that's water.
Paul, so I know you mentioned earlier off the air you were expanding your shop.
Yeah, for
are you going
hydrogen division?
That's what I was thinking. The hydrogen and your special blend car tires.
Yes.
Do you have that where it's like 78% nitrogen, like 12% oxygen, and then some other trace elements?
Yeah. We do that no additional charge. We'll put 78% nitrogen in every tire we fill up with air.
You are too kind. Free.
For free.
For free.
Yeah. I don't know how you control the measurements.
Yeah.
On that.
I'm coming in just to get
that equipment must be really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called a compressor. Every auto shop on the planet has one, but
that's how you get them. You charge for the compression.
You can have this nitrogen not compressed, or you can have it compressed. Which would you prefer?
You can have 1 psi for free, but if you want 38 psi, it costs you big money.
Charged by the psi.
I like that.
All right. Let's reel it in. Speaking of absurdities, I think Evan, you want to tell us about Chevy's new concept?
Sure. Am I the absurdity, or is the concept the absurdity?
Let's see how this goes.
All right. So Chevy's kind of expanding their plug-in hybrid, the range extended EV, or whatever they want to call it.
Is this one called Adult?
This is for people who think they're too macho for a Volt, right? So there's the Chevy FNRX that they just revealed in Shanghai, and it's a plug-in, and there's no details that anybody cares about, but they talk about the OLED ambient lighting and the heads-up display, and
it's a concept. Right. It has no doorknobs. So why don't you talk about the fact that it has no doorknobs?
But maybe they'll really build this, because it kind of does look like a beefed-up Volt in a way. It's got that same front end that the original Volt had. If you guys remember that,
it's like a zero platform, though, right?
Right. Yeah, it's going to have a CD of like 50 until they change the design, so it actually will go through the air. But it's got the suicide doors, or they call them scissor doors, or
scissor
something.
door. Yeah, every concept. I think it's mandatory to get into a car show. You have to have the suicide door.
And so it's clearly a concept piece, but look, I think Chevy's bought into the fact that they're going to have to produce EVs and plug-in hybrids, or whatever they like to call their cars. So, this thing may really hit the road, probably not looking much like the concept does. But I think people are excited about a possible, plug-in SUV with decent range that has performance characteristics, something resembling the Volt.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I was kind of excited to see the headline until I saw the concept. But
I read through this thing 3 times looking for the range, and
right.
It's not there.
I want to believe
it is interesting that they do it in Shanghai and not Detroit or New York.
Yeah.
So
shows you
where the big auto is thinking.
Yeah, but I would like to believe that Chevy has learned their lesson, that if they announce an extended range vehicle, or a plug-in hybrid, or whatever we want to call it, if they announce it, people are going to say, okay, now build it.
Right.
I would like to think they learned a lesson from the Volt, and I think the Bolt is selling very well enough. So I think that Chevy could pull this off, and I think they could do a good job. And I think if they actually build this, it's not going to look like the concept. I mean, cars rarely do, but I think it's great news. Even if they took away the pictures and just broke the article that said Chevy's going to build an SUV, great. Or what do they call it? Yeah, they don't. I caught myself saying SUV. They call it an all-purpose sports concept vehicle. Blah blah blah.
Oh, it looks all-purpose.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
You know what? When you can buy it in the showroom, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, it's just an idea.
Exactly, and maybe not even a good idea.
I think it's a nugget of a good idea.
Yeah, just silly concept kind of thing.
I mean, it's a spot in the market that's not there right now. Not filled.
RAV4 is about it, and it's on a plug-in. So yeah,
right.
The Mitsubishi Unicorn.
Oh yeah, that's right. That one that's coming next month.
Yeah, next year.
It's always next month.
Never ever arrives. It's coming next month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So, Russell, do you want to talk to us a little about a guy who is trying to get Elon to take his thumb out of Trump's ass?
I had to put it like that. Yeah, let's talk about Doug Derwin. And again, we mentioned this in the Tesla Life show. If you're into Tesla, we do this other show called the Tesla Life. Check it out. Doug Derwin is a attorney turned venture capitalist who has a lot of money. Clearly a lot of money and a lot of time on his hands. And while I sympathize with his goal, I don't know that he's going about it very sensibly. He's spending a lot of money, and by a lot of money, I mean upwards of 7 figures or more, buying ads, running billboards. He's got here's a nice little photo. Let's do this. There's a nice little photo of one of his things, because Elon Musk is working with Donald Trump for Elon Musk's own reasons, which admittedly, I find that he's working with Trump repugnant personally, but I get it. You own a couple of big companies, and it probably doesn't hurt if the government's happy with you.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, Elon brings probably more to Trump than Trump brings to Elon, but I think he's probably just looking not to get, not to raise the anger of the Trump administration. So Well, I agree with this point. Mr. Derwin is definitely putting his cash where his mouth is. There's no one can complain. I mean, he's buying ads in the New York Times, the Washington Post, San Francisco Chronicle, Santa Mercury News. He's buying TV time during Meet the Press and Morning Joe. I mean, the dude's putting up.
And where did he get his money from?
All it says is that he's an attorney turned venture capitalist. I don't know exactly. And I don't know that it's, I don't want to say it's not important. I mean, maybe it was doing something horrible. I don't know. I hope not. Let's go in and look. Managing director of Triage Ventures. He's on Minna Street in San Francisco. Pliant Technology Intertrust. He led a patent lawsuit against Microsoft. Yeah.
SanDisk.
I mean, the guy's made some good investments or whatever. Hey, good for him. Long story short, he's picking on EV industry darling Elon Musk. And I think in this case, Elon deserves a little pushback, and that's fine too. You know what I mean? Like, I get that Elon's protecting his company and his interest, and this guy's protecting his interest. This is the way the system's supposed to work.
Yeah, I saw Elon, the picture of Elon with a drink in his hand, and he's, talking to Trump or whatever. And so immediately my brain went into, okay, why the hell is Elon Trump sitting there, chumming up with Donald Trump? And then it started occurring to me that, oh, wait a minute. Trump has already showed a lot of favor to fossil fuel consumers and producers. And they might say electric vehicles are a very bad thing. So maybe Elon needs to get ahead of that and go to Donald Trump directly. Also, if Donald Trump really is supposed to be pro-business, which he claims he is, and if he also, claims to be America first, then why not let an American car company sell directly to consumers? Why let the dealership lobbyists?
Because consumers don't want that.
Right. So I
Says
started
the dealer industry.
So I really started looking at it from Elon's perspective. And yes, he is running these companies. And he's running companies that could very easily be undone by an unfriendly administration. And I think it's simple business. He's going in, he's talking to Trump because he knows that he could, grease some skids and make it easier for his businesses. And I can't really fault him for that. That's it. That's my.
There you go. I can't either.
Really? Frosty.
Oh, I mean, I think what Elon's doing is repugnant, but I understand why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that better?
I guess.
No, okay. I mean,
we all have to, look, we all have to do some repugnant things sometimes.
No, just you. Just you, Evan.
Oh, I do lots.
The rest of us live perfect.
Let me tell you about my last ER shift.
Yeah, we live lives of perfect moral clarity.
Right.
At least I do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I'm not saying that it's cool to do business with Trump. I'm saying that it's cool to stand up for your business, and that's fine. And I get that. And I get that this guy doesn't like that. That, again, yay, that's what's supposed to happen.
Right.
That's the way things work.
Well, and big business always has to suck up to the president, no matter what party they're on. I mean,
especially if you're the newcomer. I mean, let's face it. He is disruptive. Everything he's done has been disruptive, which means he has a lot of established big business enemies. And they could very easily go to someone like Donald Trump and say, this person is bad for business.
So you can for me.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a gigafactory somewhere in the desert. I think you can find it. I know you have big bombs.
Mother of all bombs.
Yes. So yeah, I also I'm favoring Elon's explanation that when you have all of the fossil fuel lobbyists and businessmen going to Donald Trump and pitching their opinions, it's not necessarily a bad thing to have someone like Elon Musk with the counter argument and trying to persuade him to look more at electric vehicles than lower oil prices or so I'm not saying Elon Musk is a saint or anything. I'm just saying I perfectly understand why he's spending time talking to Donald Trump, and I can't really fault him for that.
There you go.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that somebody would like tell me I'm full of shit.
You're full of shit, Tony, but who cares?
Okay, my night is complete.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're good, dude.
All right.
Was I supposed to really fight with you on this?
Well, I didn't know. I just it was just this article, and I think the guy's getting the press that he really wanted. And I mean, I agree with you. I give him kudos that if you really believe in something, then put your money where your mouth is. I just have a hard time understanding how much anger he seems to have.
Right.
But okay.
There you go.
So what I'm going to do is wrap it up. And I'm going to go ahead and say that you really need to make sure and visit the main site. That is whatdrives.us. We post every single show, audio and video form. You can stream it and download it. Also, make sure and check out whatdrives.us, where we've posted articles and reviews from experts like us. And I even have my series on hypermiling. If you haven't read that yet, go ahead and read that. It'll rock you to sleep right away, I promise.
No, it's good.
No,
You should
okay.
read it. So should I do the next one, Tony?
Sure, why not?
I don't know where you got this episode. If you want to make sure you never miss a show, subscribe to the show on Stitcher, Slacker, YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes, or perhaps all of them.
Yes. So with that, I want to thank Paul and Evan for joining us tonight. I want to thank everybody for listening to us live, everyone in the chat room. And I want to give a shout out, Facebook shout outs to Todd Brubaker, Crystal Markley, and of course, Vincent. Who I know is a diehard fan of the show.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yes. Yeah, he's a big fan.
But is he a fan of Die Hard?
Ooh, now that I don't know. We'll have to ask Crystal about that. Yes. So, of course, want to thank Michael Manring for the awesome theme music. Make sure and visit him at manthing.com. Watch some of his videos on YouTube if you haven't already. So with that, I want to once again thank everybody. Make sure you tune in or download next week to find out what drives us.
See you next week.